Wow, over 17 deputies are being charged with PPP loan fraud. I'm actually happy that the government decided to crack down on the fraud of for PPP loans because it's been extremely rampant. Millions upon millions of dollars, stolen by people fraudulently applying for it. And it's shameful that there are cops who are supposed to be the enforcers of the law who have been charged committing fraud. It's like, how are you supposed to know what cop is a good cop when you have so many cases of cops being bad? Who is actually supposed to enforce the law when the law enforcers are corrupt?
We are now hearing from Broward Sheriff Gregory Toney after 17 deputies have been arrested and charged with fraud. Local 10's Roy Ramos is live with this developing story. Roy.
Nicole, and we have learned that nearly 100 BSO employees did apply for the PPP loans. And of the 100, 17 of them are now facing federal charges. Well, as you mentioned today, we did get a chance to speak with Broward Sheriff Gregory Toney about these allegations. And he says if his employees were involved in this type of criminal activity, they do not deserve to be working in the law enforcement profession.
What's truly sad is how hard it was for some people to actually get help during the pandemic, while there were other people who did not need help whatsoever being able to get tons and tons of money. It's like there's something truly wrong with our government when the vulnerable people can't actually get help.
Did you believe you were receiving these loans legitimately? 17 members of the Broward Sheriff's Office, which include both BSO deputies and detention deputies, released from the federal courthouse in Fort Lauderdale after being indicted on charges that include wire fraud after federal investigators said they fraudulently applied for and received funds from the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP loans.
Bonds were set. They're being released. Nobody, as far as I know, is being detained. And we'll take it from there. We'll be back in court.
Attorney Brian Silber represents 3 of the defendants, some of whom have either been suspended or placed on leave pending the outcome of the investigation.
I can't comment on the nature of the case.
While the charging documents do not allege that any of the defendants committed the charged offenses in the course of their official duties, this does not in any way diminish the seriousness of what the defendants are alleged to have done here.
Sheriff Gregory Toney said he first learned of the crimes in November of 2020.
Well, the fact that they're cops or were off duty at the time when they did it is pretty serious because these people are supposed to uphold the law, but they were deciding to break the law and deprive other people out of aid that those people could have used and desperately needed.
Prompting him to investigate all 5,500 of his employees, including himself and other top brass.
Whoa, the dude even had an investigation into himself and other top brass. That normally doesn't happen in investigations. So, this dude may be decently clean as a cop.
Of the 17 indicted, 7 BSO deputies and 1 sergeant in law enforcement, and 8 detention deputies and 1 sergeant in corrections.
I hate to see that, knowing some of the individuals and seeing the names on that list that's being indicted, some of them were good officers. But you're only as good as the last act and conduct that you execute.
You can't really say that these officers are good well, he did say we're good officers. They're not good anymore. They may not even been good when he thought they were good, because if these people are so willing to break the law, how good are they as actual officers? They're pretty corrupt, and they've probably been doing a lot of illegal stuff before this.
We learned the defendants involved received tens of thousands of dollars, and while the investigation has proved that some of whom were investigated did have legitimate businesses, at the very least, the 17 now facing federal charges allegedly did not.
If you're going to be participating in criminal activities, we don't want you in this profession.
And while 17 BSO employees have been indicted, we are told that this investigation does continue and there could be more indictments to come. We'll be sure to stay on top.